language, there was no skips.
No.
There's no skips on it for me, bro. I play it and I let it go.
What? What are you talking about?
I let it go, bro. I can't understand for the life of me, Chucky. I know we're not in the negative space right now, but I can't believe I'm seeing people online like criticizing. And from what I've seen, it's a minority, to be fair, on my algorithm, on my timeline. But I just can't believe anyone can listen to this back to front and then say it's like average or not all that. I'm like, are you not really like listening?
I can.
Can you?
Yes, because of literally with the question that you just asked. Are you really listening? More time people ain't.
Bonkers.
What's good, my little community? Welcome back to another video. Now, guys, in today's video, we're going to be looking at Dave's album. And I'll be honest, I know a lot of people are going to be saying that I'm late to the party and whatnot, but I am a consummate professional, and I really wanted to take my time to unequivocally dissect and indulge in this album before I gave my opinion. But before we get into that, you already know what you got to do. You just got to like, comment, subscribe, tap down, drop a banger like this one, and hit that note because you're in the need. So you can be the first to know when these videos comes out. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. But yeah, as I said, I really wanted to take my time with this album and really dissect it and not rush onto the bandwagon of saying that it's horrible. I've had 3 weeks now, or I guess a full 4 weeks now, to sit with this album. And I do have to say, this album is complete trash. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what we're doing, but this album is garbage.
I'm just saying.
And it's not garbage in the traditional sense, you know, like for all intents and purposes, this album is good. It's great. It's a masterpiece, essentially. The lyricism is some of the best I've ever seen, you know, the songwriting's great. The message that Dave's trying to portray, you know, the instrumentals, the background, the song composition is all phenomenal. But it's just really boring. Like, it's just uninspired. It's just like, I'm really not quite sure what planet Dave thought he was on, where he thought that he could sit there and give us such a dead album. Like, the album's just, it's just dead. It's just meaty. This album's, it's like getting a margarita pizza from Domino's, bro. It's like, why would you pick that one? Out of all the other flavors, like, why would you pick the margarita? Obviously, after I listened to this album, I went back and listened to Psychodrama, and I thought that album was an absolute masterpiece in comparison to what Dave's given us here. It's like every album that Dave's dropped, he's got consequently worse. And it's like now we're at the worst one. It's like there's a 3-album curse in the UK. You know, Stormzy's third one was obviously garbage. J Huss's third one was a bit mid. And then now we're at Dave's third one, which is dead as well. It's like there's a 3-album curse. Of course, the album did well in its first week, charting at #1, but we are now in the 4th week, and the album is currently, at the time of me recording this, at number 30 on the UK albums chart, which is absolutely abysmal for a man of Dave's musical and commercial prowess. Now, if you're like me, you're probably wondering what went wrong with this project, and I'm gonna thoroughly break down in this video what I think the missteps were here. But this album is what I like to call Oscar bait albums, or I guess the better term would be Grammy bait albums. You know, like how they'll have like those Oscar bait movies, you know, people watch them, and when it's coming up to movie season, everyone's like, oh my gosh, this movie was so amazing, this movie wins loads of awards, everyone says the acting in it was phenomenal, blah 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 blah. And you might even watch the movie and think, damn, that was a good movie. But half of those movies, if you sat down and you wanted to watch a movie at home, you were with your friends, like, would you put that movie on?
I think not.
Probably not. If you went to the cinema to see that movie, would you go and watch that movie again? Probably not. And that's what I think this Dave album is like. You know, it's a great album, a masterpiece. I'm sure it's probably going to win hella awards for, you know, songwriting and for introspection or whatever awards they give for that. But is it an album that I'm just going to put on in the gym, or if I'm driving, or if I'm out and about with friends, or if I'm getting my 10K steps in? I'd have to say most definitely not. And I'm not going to lie, I have to address a lot of the narrative surrounding this album, because first things first, I saw that Craig, Mitch and Chucky on their podcast, they were saying that this album was phenomenal and that Dave was floating on it and the album has no skips.
There was no skips.
No.
There's no skips on it for me, bro. I play it and I let it go. I let it go, bro.
I don't know what kind of herb from Jamaica you've been smoking, but that is disgusting crap.
Which, oh my goodness, please get Dave's cock out your mouth. No disrespect. This album definitely has some skips on it. I mean, the whole album is a skip. Like, what are we even talking about? This is just pure Dave glaze. And again, I mean that with no disrespect, but saying that it's a masterpiece and all this and that, but then when you look at the chart, it's nowhere to be seen. It went #1 first week. Yeah, of course it did. It's Dave's comeback album. album. But if we look at the charts today, Dave's album is at number 30. Number 30 for one of the biggest UK rappers' third studio album to be at number 30 in a month from its original release date. I have to say that is completely unacceptable. And I know the charts aren't everything and the charts aren't an indicator as to whether the album is good or not. But what I will say is the charts are an indicator as to whether or not people are revisiting the album. So all the people online that are saying it's great and they don't understand why people aren't taking it in and are you really listening? No. Are you really listening, my brother? The album's at number 30. Clearly, you are not really listening. Are you really going back and listening to it again? I have to say, the numbers are saying that you're not. And I don't even want to hear from the other Dave Glazers who are going to try and say, well, Dave didn't make this album to be commercial. He made it to be more introspective and blah, blah, blah. Because I'm not going to lie, I can't necessarily hear that either. And I won't allow us to give Dave pass in that way because all the hallmark of a Dave album that's trying to be commercial are present in this album. You know, he's got the typical Afrobeats tune with Thames, obviously trying to recreate the magic of Location with Burna Boy. He's announced a tour alongside the album and he's done a lot of bundle giveaways. He's got the tune with Jim Legacy, which is obviously trying to be a hit commercial hit for radio play, which to be honest, that tune is complete trash, but we'll discuss that at another time. So I don't want to hear the whole he's not trying to be commercial. He might not have been trying to be as commercial. That's a convo that we can have, but he was definitely trying to hit the charts with this one and definitely trying to push it out to the mainstream. Because if you're really not trying to be commercial and you're really just trying to tell an introspective story, then you just drop the album. Just be like, yeah, I just wanted to make this album, but I've got my proper studio album coming soon, but I just wanted to make this project. Like, do you know what I mean? I think even Drake was going to do that with If You're Reading This Is Too Late. He was just going to be like, yeah, this is just a mixtape and I got views coming out next year. But then the label was like, no, you're Drake. You can't do that. This has to be a big thing. We have to promote this. I just think that on Dave's previous albums and projects, he's been able to draw a fine line between, you know, being commercial and being introspective. And I feel like on this project, he wasn't able to toe the line and keep the balance in the way he has previously. Now, let's break down all the ways in which this album has failed. So I know a lot of people, and even Craig and Chucky in this clip, you know, tried to downplay the idea of people wanting this album to be more commercial and saying that, not them specifically, but I saw people online saying that, you know, it's a sign of no intelligence if you want a more commercial album. People just want albums they can twerk to in the club and things of that nature and blah, blah, blah. But to that I say, screw them and screw anyone who thinks that way. All of these people are full of absolute garbage. They will ridicule you for wanting to hear a more, and I hate the term commercial, but it's really the only term I can come up with at the moment. But they'll hate you for wanting to hear a more commercial album or hear songs that can be, you know, played in the clubs. They'll praise Dave for doing this and taking this more, I guess, morally correct route, for loss of a better term. But then they won't come back and listen to the album and support it more. They'll leave the album at number 30 in its 4th week. So do you see how people's words don't necessarily match up to their actions? So why should we be ridiculed and demonized for wanting to listen to an album that sonically sounds good, has lyrics that we can relate, and has songs that we want to go back? I'm not being funny, but that's the bare minimum for music. Like, you know what I mean? We're not asking for too much, and we're not asking for him to do anything that he hasn't already done before. We know that he's an introspective person. We know that we're not going to get albums that are just full of hits, but we know that Dave's got the capacity where he can have an album that's got a couple of hits, and then it's got a couple of introspective songs, and then it's got a couple of songs which could be a hit, but could also just be a cool tune that he's just rapping on. Like he's got the ability to do it all. So we're not asking for too much, and we shouldn't be ridiculed for being shocked that this album hasn't lived up to the standards that we set for ourselves. Like we weren't asking for a future album of him just, you know, doing mumble rap. Like, I think it just so happens that there's a Venn diagram in place where songs that you want to listen to again and songs that are commercial do sometimes overlap, which is where people get confused and think that a song being commercial means that it's of low quality, which isn't necessarily true. But going back to this album as a whole, the first and most important thing that we have to mention is that the replay value for this album is absolutely non-existent. And again, this is one of those topics that I didn't want to feel comfortable speaking on until I'd given myself a considerable amount of time, a considerable amount of week with this project to really digest it. But after listening to it multiple times, there's nothing really on here that's going to make you want to come back. You know, of course, we've got some typical tracks like the song with Thames, which is it's okay, I guess. It doesn't sound like anything mind-blowing or anything that's going to make you pre-cum. It's just a cool Thames track with a couple of cool Dave verses, you know what I mean? And then obviously we have the Jim Legacy track, which was supposed to be a hit, but is absolute garbage. And I actually hate that song with a passion. Every time I hear that song, it's like my ears are being rubbed against sandpaper with chili sauce. Like, it's just, it's just not making sense. It just sounds like a tune that some guys would make on a CBBC show, you know what I mean? Like, it sounds like something that was made in Tracy Beaker. Like, it's just, I don't know, I'm just not rocking with it. And then of course we have like songs like the track with Kano, which I do like, but again, it's not a track that I would really come back to either, and I don't think it's a track that we're going to be remembering for years to come. I mean, I don't think the album is one that we're going to be remembering for years to come. I mean, the album's at number 30. We're not even remembering the album a month later. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, yeah, it's not looking good. And yeah, another reason why I think this album failed is due to a growing problem within UK rap, and that is this whole idea of being a nonchalant rapper. You know, the Dave, the J Husses, the, I don't know, K-Traps of the world. Like, the Skepta sometimes does it as well a little bit. They like to get into this mode where they try and act like they're too cool for school. You know, they don't need to do a rollout, or they don't need to do press or interviews or videos or anything like that. You know, they're just so cool and so nonchalant that their music is just gonna speak for itself and it's gonna rise above all of the noise and just take over the UK atmosphere. And cool, it does do that for the first week, but then look, now the album is at number 30. So I just think that UK rappers, unfortunately, the market share is not high enough for you to be on this nonchalant, ego, Kanye West, Playboy Carti kind of vibe. Like, I just don't think it works in the same way in this country anyway. We live in a very out of sight, out of mind culture, especially when it comes to UK rap. You know, you can't just drop an album and then just disappear. I mean, we haven't really seen Dave do a single interview or do a collab with a streamer or do like a campaign with any big brands. I mean, he did the Stone Island vinyl thing, and but it's like, bro, like who cares? Like, who cares about vinyls? Let's be so real.
I don't give a fuck, Keisha.
Nobody cares about buying a vinyl for an album that's yet to come out. We don't even know if it's going to be good or not. Why would we buy the vinyl? I mean, obviously the diehard Dave fans would have bought it, obviously, but it's just like, that's not really going to raise the noise around the album. I mean, he did a little campaign. I saw him do a campaign with Saka. I think it was Stone Island and Adidas or New Balance or something like that, which again was just like a 15-second video, not really anything that's going to shift the paradigm in any way. And he recently did an interview where he was talking about the reason why he made the album and which he said something about he wanted to break down why women have a problem with men, or just like, I'll be honest, it was just a bunch of nonsense. No disrespect to Dave. I really do like Dave and I like Dave's music, but I have to call a spade of spade, to be honest. And of course, the other reason why this, you know, nonchalantness doesn't necessarily work, especially in Dave's case, is that, again, no disrespect to Dave, but he doesn't really have a personality like that. And what I mean by that is Dave raps very monotone. You know, he's not got the swag or the sauce when he raps. Like, I have to give you an example so I can explain what I'm talking about. Let me give you an American example and a UK example. So Kendrick Lamar can do the nonchalant disappearing angle, because we know that when he comes back, we're gonna get bangers, we're gonna get a load of different voices when he raps, we're gonna get a unique and engaging style. J Hus can pull it off at times, because we know J Hus's personality really shines through when he raps. You know, he's cheeky, he can sing, he can rap, he can easily interpolate between the two. He's got funny lines and funny voices that he does when he raps. Dave doesn't really have or do any of those things. So most, if not all, the songs on this project, Dave's rapping exactly the same way with exactly the same voice. And as a listener, eventually you just get tired of it, and it's just like, what are we really doing here? And to bring it back to the original point, it's just like, we can't as an audience be anticipating your new album and really taking it in when we sort of know, and then when you actually prove to us that when we finally listen to your album, we're just going to get the same thing effectively that we got when you didn't drop, which is nothing. We're at a point now where listeners are probably going to start to disengage. And I think Dave has reached that point now, unfortunately, where a lot of people who would have been checking for new music from him have probably begun to disengage and sort of start to see him in a different light. And disengaged doesn't necessarily mean that they're not fans of him anymore, but I believe that this third album has shown a chink in Dave's armor. This is the first time where people are actually saying this Dave album is dead. And obviously you're not going to see any celebrities or any like influencers saying that it's dead, because, you know, they're all in a little clique with each other and they're all behind the scenes jerking each other off. So like, you're not going to see anyone really actually say for real how mid or boring this album is, but I'm not with them, so I can keep it real for you guys and just tell you how it really is, innit? Maybe in the future I'll be with them and I won't be saying it, but for right now, I got you guys and I'm keeping it real. But in the words of anyone,
it's a bit of a sticky one still.
But let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. What do you think about Dave's album? Do you think it was dead? Do you think it was not? Let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on the road to 3,000 subs. You know what time it is. You can follow my personal IG, TyTy So Fly. If you care about what I do, I'm not making these bangers for you. I bet. Peace.
Oh, you ain't know I could sing.